Hey guys, we are back with another video and we got a lot to talk about. I've been waiting for a couple of days just to wait for some news to break, especially with the NHL lottery draft that was just happened just a few hours ago. But in that span of time, there's actually been a ton of information that's been coming out with more information on the Utah team. So we got a lot to discuss, so we're just going to buckle up and get right into it. I feel like I just wanted to kind of talk about everything all at once in this one video instead of trying to splice it up into multiple other videos. So we're going to have a mouthful here. Let's just get started. And we'll start off with the big news of tonight, and that was the NHL draft lottery. You can see here that I'm decked out in some Sharks gear. They were my team before this new Utah team, so Ryan Smith, we need to get some Utah swag going on here so we can start repping that. But so we have a good reason to wear the Sharks stuff today, but we will discuss that here in a second. Let's talk about Utah. So Utah went into the lottery with a 7.5% chance of winning the lottery. And that doesn't mean like picking first. They have a 7.5% chance of either picking first or second. Unfortunately, they didn't do it, and so they were stuck with their number 6 pick. In fact, the draft lottery was pretty anticlimactic. We had basically the regular season odds and the standings played out exactly how the lottery played out. So Utah comes away with the overall 6th pick, which is still pretty good, and give them an opportunity to draft somebody that, you know, can hopefully come in and maybe not contribute immediately, but contribute pretty soon. My hockey knowledge, I'm still growing in that, but looking at some of the NHL drafts and seeing Utah's current roster situation, they got a lot of defensemen that are not signed, either as undrafted or as restricted free agents or just, unrestricted free agents. So they got to start thinking about their defensive line. And one that I've been looking at as the mock drafts that does seem interesting is Zeev Buium from the University of Denver. 50-point freshman, world junior gold medal, and a national title. So there's a lot touting about him. I think he could, come in and probably be an awesome add to the great young core that Utah has. But as far as Utah goes, that was about all that you need to discuss about their night. The night really belonged to the San Jose Sharks, as they did have a 25% chance of winning the lottery when you factor in their pick, their worst odds, or at least having the highest odds, and then having Pittsburgh's picks, you add their odds. And plus, if you don't know about the draft lottery, you can actually only move up 10 spots if you win the lottery. So as long as if someone 12 through 16 won the draft lottery, then that would actually place the Sharks in the number 1 spot. So none of that happened. The Sharks ended up actually winning with their own odds by themselves. And so they have the opportunity to draft Macklin Celebrini, which seems by far, in a way, the number 1 prospect in this upcoming draft, which it would have been really cool if Utah would have won it. But the fact that the Sharks were winning it, not just because it's my team, but also because my other team, but it's because, his father works for the Golden State Warriors. He has, so he has a family home there in San Francisco. So he's already kind of a hometown kid there. I knew he grew up in Vancouver, but he's kind of got some roots there. So I'm actually excited for them, especially with the number 4 pick that they had last year with Will Smith. Hopefully now with them winning the lottery, I anticipate that those two will probably be making impacts on the Sharks pretty soon. They might still be a couple years out from getting back to playoff contention, but the future does look a lot brighter for the Sharks now that they got that first pick. I don't know if this report is true, but someone that I was seeing on X said that the Sharks actually won the lottery 3 times in a row before they finally were able to pick the second team, before Chicago was finally won as the next team. So, good vibes going for San Jose. The draft was, the lottery was quick. It was only 30 minutes long. They had some just talking about the upcoming draft and celebrating. They had him on the set. It was a little awkward, not gonna lie. Not really Macklin's fault. I just think having, someone who everyone just proclaims as a number one pick can always just kind of be awkward because you're trying to stay humble, but you kind of know that this is what's happening. And then there was just like some weird exchanges about not knowing what Zillow was. It just kind of got a little bit weird. And, I know you're trying to stretch out a show even only 30 minutes long, but anyways, it was a little bit awkward, but we made it through. So that was the draft lottery. And I apologize if I'm sounding like a little nasally. I'm actually getting over a cold here, but wanted to get this information out to you. Let's move on to the other news that happened for Utah just yesterday. The Smith Entertainment Group announced that they have secured a site for their practice facilities and for their team offices. And this will actually be in Sandy, Utah, which is about 10 miles or so south of Salt Lake City. For those of you who aren't familiar with the geography of Utah and Salt Lake. So they secured an 111 acre site, which is actually called, the Southtown Mall or Southtown Shops. So it's actually a mall, and I think there's even like a Target and some other buildings just north of it. And so they secured that site, and a lot of people were speculating, well, where's this hockey facility going to go? I even looked on Google Maps and I saw some open fields, but those open fields were pretty small. In fact, this building's actually pretty close to where I work during my normal day job. So I actually took a drive around there just to kind of see, and they do, as part of the mall itself, they have it used to be a Macy's shopping center, and that they right now it's just kind of been vacant. They put some like old cars in there for like some auto shop showings and things like that. And I'll show some videos and pictures of what the outside looks like. Don't pay attention to what the outside looks like, because I have full confidence that they'll be able to modernize this and make this look really cool. But you can just see how empty it looks and how vacant it is. And so I would say I'm 90% positive that this site is going to be the location for this facility. And I'm super stoked about it, especially it's going to be right next to where I work. And they said that they've confirmed that there's going to be 2 practice rinks in there, 2 full-sized rinks, as well as a team shop, a team store that you can go in. It's going to house the team offices, locker rooms. So it's going to be a really nice facility that I think is going to be really cool. And also they said when, the practice sessions are not going on, they're going to open up these rinks to the public for, community leagues and youth leagues. So I think this is just really awesome to just increase the presence of hockey. They're already getting started that by putting that in an area that will hopefully also just revitalize that area. Not like it's dead or anything. The mall is kind of meh. I'll admit there's not a whole lot going on there. There's just like kind of a few stores, kind of like most malls that you see nowadays. It is a little bit funny that they're kind of putting it in connection with the mall, but I guess that's not the only NHL team that has that going on. So I have confidence that they're going to make this look really cool, and I'm excited to see it happen. They did say that this is going to be completed, or should be completed, before the start of the 2025-26 season, which will be a pretty quick turnaround. That's awesome. The next thing that I wanted to chat about too is today they had the Salt Lake City Council work session where co-founder of the Smith Entertainment Group, or Qualtrics, I'm not sure what his title is with Smith Entertainment Group, but basically Ryan Smith's like right-hand man to all of this stuff going on. His name is Mike Mon. He spoke with the idea of, reimagining downtown Salt Lake City. For those just focusing on NHL and the NBA, there's been a lot of questions and concerns on what will happen with some of the other buildings and the other things that kind of have some cultural and significance to the city. So I thought it was important that they, addressed some of these things. So we thought we were going to get some like new renderings of what they were envisioning in Salt Lake City, but they didn't show anything new. In fact, they just showed up the one that they showcased in January about the renderings of re-envisioning downtown Salt Lake City. But I thought it was important because Mon did take some time to discuss what the purpose of the rendering actually was. I don't know I listened to it, and so I know what he said, and I'm not going to state exactly what he said, but to paraphrase what he said, he basically said, don't focus on, like what venues are missing, what shops are missing, and things like that. Instead, just focus on the entire vision of what they're trying to capture. And then he went into details about opening up downtown. And this was confirmed by even some of the Salt Lake City Council members, the mayors that were both there. I think they all spoke to how downtown Salt Lake City, I guess I didn't really notice this or realize this, but now that it's being like addressed, you can totally tell what they're talking about. For those of you who don't know downtown Salt Lake, I guess it's nice. I feel like there's a lot of room to like put stuff in, but some glaring things that it has going on with it is you have a mall called the Gateway that's on the west side of the Delta Center, and all of those are inward facing malls and shops, and so it seems very closed off, and it almost like creates a wall between the Delta Center and some of the other venues and shops in west, on the west side of downtown. And then on the east side, you have the Salt Palace, which is a convention center now. It used to be home for the Utah Jazz way back before the Delta Center was created. But the Salt Palace, with some of the renovations and just the way that it's designed, it almost creates like an eastern wall. And so you have the Delta Center that's just kind of like in this middle area, but kind of closed off from like the rest of the city. And so downtown just kind of feels like it's like this enclosed place and you're kind of just surrounded by like walls of these buildings. And so they are really discussing about kind of just opening that up, remodeling some of these buildings, and even maybe taking down some of those walls and opening it up, making it so that people feel like it is just this entire spectacle that you can not only just go through, but you can really walk down it. You can go in and out. When you come out of these different venues, they all flood into that middle plaza rather than being spit out on the outskirts of downtown. So that was kind of the biggest takeaway that I took from it. And so he even mentioned too, like when you come out of the Delta Center, you come out and you face a parking lot, which is just kind of an eyesore. And so they really want to open it up and have it faced more east rather than northeast, and really just make it this awesome place for people to go and eat and eat, not just from the big brands and the big chains, but also have local brands of food and merchandise. Just looking through some of my notes too here, that SEG wants to focus on what I've labeled the acronym as SECC. Mike Mon really drilled down these four things that he and the Smith Entertainment Group really want to focus on, and that's sports, entertainment, culture, and conventions. And so there were some people who were concerned about, I hope I pronounced this right, Abravanel Hall. I've been in there before for some other stuff, and it's mostly known for like symphonies, and they have a symphony hall and things like that. It's a really nice building. And so some people thought, like, with these renderings and stuff, is that place just going to, disappear? But they remained committed to the arts. They remain committed to Japantown, which is really close by. And so they said, our aim and goal is not to like remove these things. We want to embrace them. In fact, actually improve upon them by looping them in with the rest of everything that's going on with downtown. They're saying all the right things. We'll just see if they can actually execute on that. The biggest thing that I feel like is happening is I feel like the Salt Palace is going to get a huge renovation. They even talked about how just the future of conventions in general are going to be changing. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean that are they going to renovate it and make it more awesome, or are they going to tear down some of it because a lot of it's not going to be as useful to the overall vision? We'll have to see what happens, but I feel like if any place is like in the biggest jeopardy of like losing its allure, it's going to be the Salt Palace, which a little bit sad, but I think looking at what they really want to do, I feel like there's going to have to be some major changes like that. The Olympics are going to be a big driving factor in this. For those of you who might not know, the Salt Lake City is basically the front runner, almost assured that they're going to be hosting the 2034 Olympics. And so I feel like they want to use this to be able to really have just an awesome heart of the West mentality, not just in the country, but also in the world, bringing a bunch of people here, and they want to have all this completed by this time. And I feel like that will be a big driving factor for them. Just another final note to talk about that. I know I've talked about this enough, but I just thought it was fascinating to kind of hear everything going on. But they talked a little bit more about the taxing situation. I didn't finish the entire conference that before I started recording this video, but they were talking kind of more about the financial side of it, because obviously the city of Salt Lake's going to be proposed and approved for the 0.5% tax increase. There's always going to be people who are like, oh, owners should pay for this, or or all of the, they're just doing it for themselves. But when you look at and Mike Mon kind of explained it, and like I said, he's saying all the right things. So hopefully, all of this is true and they execute it correctly. But, yes, they did get approved for that. And if they do, then Smith Entertainment will be able to use $900 million in funding. But he said that really he doesn't anticipate that the renovations to the Delta Center will require that much money. And so the rest of this is actually going to be poured into reimagining this downtown district. And so a lot of it, so it's not just going to, improve this, this temple that they are, this new temple for lack of better phrasing, but it's going to try and go back into the city to help improve the district. They talked about how much revenue not just the NHL will bring, but they told about how much revenue the NBA All-Star Game brought in, how much the Jazz brought in, and how much even the UFC fights that they've been hosting recently have brought in. And also, again, the Olympics, they're going to bring in a lot more money too. And so by making these changes, they're bringing in about as much, or if not even more, revenue into the city and into the economy than what they're going to be getting out of putting into their own building. They asked, one of the council members asked Mon what he thought the financial, as far as what they think the taxes will gain from it, as well as how much money that they think that they will be investing into all of this. And Mon says, and I'm just giving estimates, I'm just quoting what he said, but he says that the tax revenue that they estimate over the 30-year period will be about $1.2 billion. And then he says that the Smith Group plans and estimates to invest over $3 billion into this downtown district. So, I think, again, you can kind of view how you want, you could feel how you want about taxes and increasing those, and, your political viewpoints on whether or not you feel like this is necessary. That's totally up to you. I just feel like it's not one, you got to face all of the facts. And for me personally, this is just my personal opinion, I would totally support something like this. Even if they made it a whole Utah state tax, I would support it, just because I feel like it's really going to ramp up and make this a more desirable place to be for all sorts of events, cultural events, not just sports. But hey, if they can also do this and impress the MLB as the MLB looks to expand, I think that's just another bonus and a win. So that's the latest news on the reimagination of downtown Salt Lake City. And another thing Mon did mention in the city council meeting that will close out this video is he did announce that they will be releasing a bracket tomorrow for the community to vote on the team name and the mascot for this upcoming NHL team, which I'm super stoked about. Glad that they're releasing it early, and who knows, maybe we'll be able to get this completed and have it ready for the start of the season. I'm still doubting it. I bet you they go under the Utah Hockey Club for the first year, but it's exciting to see that they are going to be releasing it tomorrow. And so we'll probably spit out another video. We'll maybe not tomorrow, but in the next couple of days, we'll see what the bracket is, and we'll fill out the bracket ourselves here on this channel, and would love to hear your comments as well. One thing that he did mention is he did say that it will be over several rounds. I don't know if he was just saying that because off the top of his head he didn't know how many rounds an 8-choice bracket would lead to. But if you're looking at 8, it's really only 8 down to 4, down to 2, down to 1. So we're like 3 rounds. The fact that he said several maybe makes me think that maybe there's more team names that might be coming out than the 8. Which, if you don't remember the 8, you can check out my video that I posted here. But again, just to reiterate them here, you have the Hockey Club, you have the Venom, the Fury, the Blizzard, the Ice, the Mammoth, the Yeti, the Outlaws. Am I missing one? I could be missing one, but so those are the 8 that we know have been trademarked, but maybe they've secretly trademarked some other ones that people haven't discovered yet, or they plan to trademark them tomorrow or something. But that is exciting that it is coming out. We'll have the coverage on that and how that's going, and we'll make sure to release that bracket to you once it comes out. So that's it for this episode. Thank you again. If you made it to the end of this video, I really appreciate your help and support. It really does help validate what I'm doing here, and we're excited for this upcoming hockey season. It's gonna be superb. I'm enjoying the hockey playoffs as they're going now, but if you're enjoying this content, please help support it by liking and commenting. And if you want to see more of these videos as they're coming out, feel free to hit that subscribe button, so that way you can receive more notifications when these videos come out. Until then, guys, appreciate y'all and take care.